Hi, and thank you for watching us here at Tax Talk UK, where we talk about all things tax and consider other important aspects of being self-employed, working for yourself, running a small business. So as part of our bite-sized series of demo videos showing you how to use your Freeagent software, today I'm going to show you how to raise a credit note in your software. Before I do that, if I could please ask you to take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll easily be able to refer back to this information if you should need to, as well as being able to find other information that we have on a whole host of different topics, all aimed at supporting you in your self-employment. If you navigate to the playlist area of our YouTube channel and search for Freeagent, you will find the whole of the series that we currently have available on our Freeagent demos for you. So back then to raising a credit note in your Freeagent software. So I'm just going to jump into the software. So here we are, and you will remember we've talked in other videos about what we're trying to achieve when we raise a credit note. So when we raise an invoice initially, we are adding the sales amount, the net sales amount, to the turnover, to the profit and loss for our business. If we are VAT registered, we're accounting for the VAT, and we're also adding the amount due to our customer or client's debtor account. So sometimes it may be necessary to raise a credit note. So there's a whole multitude of reasons why we may need to do this. Once an invoice has been issued, either digitally or in hard copy, we shouldn't be making any fundamental changes to that invoice. So we shouldn't be changing certainly the amount or the date. And if we find that we've made a mistake after the invoice has been issued, then we should be raising a credit note. Now, there will be some circumstances where we need to fully credit an invoice, i.e. we need to completely take out of the accounts what we did by raising the invoice in the first place. So we want to completely take the sale out, completely unaccount for the VAT, and take the balance out of the customer's debtor account. Sometimes we may just need to credit partial amount of the invoice. So we just want to reduce the sales that we added and reduce the amount from the customer and reduce the VAT amount. Sometimes that's what we may be trying to achieve, but it may be simpler to credit the whole invoice and raise the invoice correctly. Now, if you follow that through what we're trying to achieve, you will see that regardless of whether you partially credit an invoice or you credit in full and reissue, you will in the accounts end up with exactly the same result. So you're with the total sales, the VAT, if you're VAT registered, and the balance in your customer's account. So let's get on then to showing you how we actually raise the credit note. So we need to go to work and into the invoicing section. So here we can see all of the invoices that we have raised. And sometimes because, like I just talked about, we are trying to offset something or reduce something that's been put into the account from the invoice, it's really important that we use the same codes that we have used, that we use the same VAT rate, and of course the same customer as the original invoice in order to achieve what we want to achieve. So we can always click into the invoice at any time to be able to see what the initial invoice was like. So if I come back out of that, so you'll see here on the right hand side, we've got the option to add new credit note. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to credit half of this invoice for this invoice that's been raised. So exactly the same format as we would do for the invoice. You'll recognize this. So we choose contact, credit note numbering, the same as the invoice. Freeagent will do that sequentially for you, so you shouldn't need to change it. The date that's required, and let's save changes, and then we actually go into the credit note details. So you can see once you know how to raise an invoice, actually it's the same format to raise the credit note. It's always important though that you note that you are in a credit note, because it can be easy otherwise to inadvertently think that you've gone back to an invoice screen, or conversely in a credit when you think you're in the invoice. So let's add the credit item. So I'm going to just do quantity 1. I'm going to have no unit, but the same as the invoices. And really here, the lead would be from what you've put on the invoice. So here I'm going to put gesture of goodwill, and I'm going to be crediting half of that invoice. And much the same as when we do the invoices, we can add as many lines as we want or as little lines. And the details here really is for the benefit of your customer to understand, and for an audit trail, so you can understand why you raised that credit note, because you may think now that you'll remember, but in a couple of months' time, when you need to look at it for something, it's not likely that you will. So let's create and finish. And oh, I forgot to put the minus in front of that. There we go. So there you can see our credit note. You can see now that that's a minus 500, and that's adjusted the VAT. You'll remember the invoice that we're crediting had VAT on it. And much the same as the invoices, we can send by email or print, or, you know, perhaps in some cases, perhaps there might be a circumstance where you've realized after you've issued the invoice that it's incorrect, and you don't need to send the credit note to the customer, so then you could just mark it as sent. And this is what you will see once the credit note has been emailed or printed. So if we go back to the invoicing module under work, you can see now that the credit note is showing there, ready to be allocated against that invoice. So hopefully this has helped you to understand why and how to raise a credit note, the circumstances, and the things to consider. So thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.